G'day guys, how's it going today? I'm super excited because we're here with the all-new Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo. That's right, today we're going to be taking a look at the workhorse of the range. Now, I've got it here in this beautiful candy white color, but it is available in 6 other colors, including some pretty wild ones like green and yellow. It gets pretty epic, and we're here in Newcastle for the Australian launch of the ID. Buzz Pro and Cargo. So today I'm going to be doing a full exterior tour of this minivan. I absolutely love minivans. That's one of the things Matt and I have in common. We both love this segment of car. We're going to be taking a look at all of the crazy, quirky exterior features, as well as all the interior packaging and styling, because yes, this car still does have some style. I know it is a commercial vehicle technically, but it is still pretty cool. I mean, just look at it. And of course, we're going to be going through all of its specs and practicality, and I'm going to be giving it a drive, including a 0 to 100 launch, because that's what we do here at Car Source. Let's get straight into it. Alrighty guys, so before we talk about the way this thing looks, let's talk about pricing, because it's actually a pretty simple but complicated story with this car. So it does come in at $79,990 before on-road costs. However, that is before you factor in the extensive list of option packages, and I think that you could easily spec this car up to probably close to $100,000 before on-road costs. So keep that in mind when looking at the Volkswagen ID. Buzz. Now, as standard, this car does come in the candy white paint. However, you can option some really interesting metallic and pearlescent paint options which look incredible. Unfortunately, you can't do the two-tone option on this. That is only available on the ID. Buzz Pro. However, I think the white actually looks really cool. Now, up the front here, you do get this body-colored bumper. However, you can de-option that down to a plastic cladding, which I think actually looks a little bit more fitting for the commercial segment. If I was purchasing one for my fleet, I'd probably go for that, to be honest, just because it doesn't show scratches as easily. But if you don't go for that, you do get this really cool white look here, and at the front you can see this very much ID range themed grille there. It definitely fits in with the ID.4 and some of those other Volkswagen EV products that will be coming to Australia shortly. And of course, you do get the Volkswagen original iconic combi van inspiration. So no, this isn't an electric combi van. It's definitely far from that. However, it does take a lot of design cues and inspiration from it. So you get this massive Volkswagen badge that is very much combi inspired. You do also get this radar down the bottom. Now, this car does come with extensive list of safety features, including some of the most advanced driver assistance features. So if you want to read a full list of all of the safety inclusions that you get with the Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo, make sure you check out our full review on Car Source live now. Just Google Car Source Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo and you'll find it. Anyway, continuing on with the front here, you can see we have these very cool headlights there. You do get LED headlights with adaptive high beams as default. However, if you do go for one of those exterior option packages, which does come with a power tailgate at the back, you do get Volkswagen IQ lights, which are an upgraded LED lighting package at the front. You do get this black cladding here that does integrate nicely with the headlights there and connects to the Volkswagen logo. That's pretty much it for the front. Let's have a look at the side. Alrighty guys, now coming to the side of the Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo. First thing you'll notice are these 18-inch wheels here. Now they are wrapped in these Goodyear Eagle F1 tires. Definitely not the best tires, but they'll get the job done. Now you do get these steel wheels as standard on the ID. Buzz Cargo. However, they do come with this cool cover, which you can de-option, like I mentioned with this front bumper. You can de-option both those things, and I actually think it looks pretty cool, to be honest. Now, there is also an additional alloy wheel option, which is 19 inches. It costs an extra $3,500. So if you want to give your ID. Buzz Cargo the cool sporty treatment, you can get those 19-inch alloys. Continuing on with the rest of the side, you do get these glossy black mirror caps here, and coming to the side, you do get keyless entry and go as standard, which is very good to see. Now, one thing you don't get as standard are these automatic sliding doors that this car doesn't have. Now, this particular model here does come with the manual sliding doors, which personally I don't think is a huge problem, and you can see there's a massive amount of storage space on the inside, but we'll get back to that. You can also option for, I believe, $1,600 power sliding doors, if that makes a difference to you. I know if I was a postie, for example, and I was getting in and out of my car all the time, it'd probably be worth getting that, but otherwise it's not an issue just to slide it open. And you can also option, like I mentioned, the power tailgate for an extra $900. So as you can see, these options do start stacking up if you get all of them, but this car does come pretty well equipped on the interior as standard. Let's continue on with the rest of the side of this car. Now, I definitely love the side profile of this. I really love these speed lines at the back here. It is really reminiscent of that early 2000s Volkswagen microbus concept. That was before my time, but I remember seeing pictures and going, wow, this looks exactly like it. You also do get your charging port at the back here, and as you can see, if we press that, it swings right open. Now, this car does come with a 79 kilowatt hour gross capacity battery. Now it is based on Volkswagen's modular electric platform, otherwise known as the MEB platform. Now you do get up to 11 kilowatts AC charging and up to 185 kilowatts DC fast charging at peak. And the Cargo does have a claimed range of 431 kilometers on the WLTP cycle. So that's it about battery. Let's talk about the rear. Alrighty guys, coming to the rear now, and I absolutely love this angle of the vehicle. It looks really cool. You get your massive Volkswagen badge there, which has been whited out. That's pretty cool there. You have your ID Buzz lettering, which has also been whited out. And as you can see, we don't get the light bar like on the Pro on this one. We do get this kind of plastic cladding at the back here, which looks interesting. You do get a cool spoiler up the top here, and also a little bit of an Easter egg, which is a Volkswagen ID Buzz and a umbrella next to the rear wipers. I forgot the word for a second there. And as you can see down the bottom, we also have a white body colored bumper there. Now, if we come inside the tailgate, you can see it's a powered tailgate. Like I said, that is a, just shoulder charged me. Continue. No, continue. As you can see, we do get a powered tailgate when you don't get in the way of the operation. And as you can see, there is an absolutely cavernous storage space. So Volkswagen quote 3.9 cubic meters of volume in here, and I totally believe them. It is absolutely massive. You can fit up to 2 Euro pallets in the back. The maximum load length is 2,208 millimeters. The load width is 1732 millimeters, and the load height is 1257 millimeters. This thing also comes with a 774 kilo payload. So like before, when we were pulling 500 kilos in the back, we could still have an additional 274 kilos of payload, which is, you know, as we've been joking today, the average weight of 2 car journalists.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
There are a whole bunch of more optional extras you can get in the back here, including a universal loading floor. Like I said, if you guys want a full comprehensive list of all of the options and all of the inclusions that you get as standard, I recommend you read our full review on CarSource. Just Google CarSource Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo, and you'll be able to see all of those optional extras. Alrighty, it's time to check out the interior. Let's do it. So another really cool thing about getting an EV minivan is just how easy it is to start and stop driving this thing. So if I step up on the really massive step to get in, close the door, oh, that was a proper ID Buzz Cargo thonk right there. And now all I have to do is press the brake and the car is already ready to go. I just have to twist it into drive and off I go. I'm not gonna do that right now because I'll probably take out my cameraman. Now, this is probably one of the most comfortable minivans I've ever sat in. First things first, you get this really classical feeling Volkswagen steering wheel. It just feels good in the hands, really nice to hold on to. You do get these touch capacitive buttons here. On the left side is for your adaptive cruise control. On the right side is for your media controls. There is a very small driver's display up in front of you. It does contain enough information, including your speed, your battery capacity, your range. And then you've got the, what can only be described as the piece de resistance of the Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo. And that is this massive 12.9-inch infotainment screen. It is very responsive, very easy to use. It comes with a bunch of different inbuilt apps, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So it's very good there. If I shift it into reverse, it also has a very high quality reversing camera. It's a little bit weird, the perspective. It's very fisheye, so it took me a second to get used to that, but I think that is pretty useful for a van to have it in that perspective. And of course, you do get front and rear parking sensors, so parking this thing is pretty easy. Of course, the front and rear overhangs are like non-existent, so it's very easy to maneuver this thing around. In terms of practicality on the interior, it's actually a pretty good story. So you do get a decent amount of storage in the middle here. You do get a cup holder as well, little ID Buzz thing there, that's pretty cool. You get a little parcel shelf up here, which is a nice grippy textured surface there. If I open up the glove box, it is actually pretty massive. You also get a decent amount of storage up here, which is pretty handy, including a 12-volt socket up here and a couple of cup holders with a Volkswagen takeaway coffee cup. Love that. You also get a USB-C charging port up there. You also get a couple of USB-C fast chargers up here for the driver, as well as a phone storage area, which is very convenient. And the doors also have a massive amount of storage space. So you get 2 different door bins, and the bottom door bin is like the biggest door bin I've ever seen. So you know what, Volkswagen, you win biggest door bin award 2025. Well done. Now, what else is a good story? Well, first of all, I actually really like these fabric seats. They aren't the most comfortable seats in the world. They don't have adjustable lumbar support or anything like that, but you can get into a good enough driving position. Keep in mind, we are talking about a minivan here, which has a wall right behind me. So you are limited by how much you can recline the seat and how far back you can go. However, I haven't found that to be an issue at all in my time driving this car. The seats themselves are soft enough. They feel pretty good. It is pretty much a bench seating layout in the front here. So you do get these 3 seats next to each other, but you you will kind of find that as standard across the minivan segment. So no major complaints from me there. There is quite a lot of hard, scratchy plastics, which is definitely not an issue for a minivan because you might be taking large items in and out and bumping things all the time. And if you have like soft fabrics, it might just get ripped, honestly. My main criticism of hard, scratchy plastics is that they reflect a lot of sound. However, I have to say, driving this thing, it's honestly one of the most quiet minivans ever, not just because it's an electric car, but also because it has insulated glass to protect you from the sounds of the rear. Now, I will mention one other aspect of the ID. Buzz Cargo that we don't normally talk about with cars, and that is actually the ownership costs. Now, this car does come with an 8-year battery warranty, but you also get up to 10 years capped price servicing with the Volkswagen Care plan. So that's every 2 years or every 30,000 kilometers. So the servicing intervals are further apart for this car. So yeah, that's definitely impressive. And speaking of ownership, if you guys want to own one of these cars and you want to buy it for the best possible price and get cars that are in stock and close to you, you have to use CarSource Buy. Just Google CarSource Buy. We've got an absolutely massive dealership network of thousands of dealers across Australia, and they know exactly how to source cars that are in stock and ready for you to buy straight away. This car's already available for quotes on our website, so make sure you head to CarSource Buy and get your quotes because this car will be landing imminently in January. All right, I think it's time to launch it. Alrighty guys, it's time to launch the Volkswagen ID. Buzz. First things first, I have to put it into sport mode. Now we're in sport mode. Make sure I'm in drive. I've got regenerative braking. No, I want to be in normal drive. Let's launch this bloody thing. So I'm going to brake boost launch it. Stop here. Hopefully we have enough space. Fully on the brake, fully on the accelerator. It's loaded up. Let's do this. We've got the draggy. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Did we hit it? We did. Let me just pull off and I can read out the result. Alrighty, so it was 0 to 100 in 7 seconds flat, 7.03 seconds. That's pretty bloody good. Let's drive this thing normally. Alrighty guys, driving the Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo normally. I'm in sport mode already, so let's just give it some sauce. Jeez, I think my glasses just went flying. Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about what powers this thing. So you do have a rear-wheel drive electric motor that produces 210 kilowatts of power, 550 Newton meters of torque. So definitely not lacking in the torque department. And you can really tell. In fact, I drove this car both laden with 500 kilos and now I'm driving it unladen. So that's why I can give it a bit more sauce through these twisties. And oh my God, it is really, really fast for a minivan. I don't think I've ever driven a minivan that feels quite like this. This is insane. Holy crap, this thing is cornering really, really well. The steering feels actually quite heavy, which is surprising because when I was driving around town earlier, it felt very light, very effortless. And now that I come out, I'm driving it a bit more dynamically. Really is quite a connected feeling on the roads. Now, the suspension is definitely on the stiffer end. If I switch back to comfort mode, it does seem to feel the same, to be honest. It still feels quite firm. So yeah, you're definitely not going to be getting that kind of soft ride like you might get on something like a Kia EV9 or even a Hyundai Ioniq 9, which are going to be more of that magic carpet feeling on the road. This is definitely going to be a little bit firmer, but around town, it honestly feels really good. And to be honest, when you're driving a minivan that can drive this fast, you kind of want the ability to corner and not body roll all over the place, because that would be quite a scary feeling. Now, one thing I want to give a shout out to Volkswagen is they have just given this thing everything in terms of driver assistance technologies. We've just done a couple of hours in the ID Buzz Pro, and that thing has some of the best lane keeping and driver assistance systems that I've personally used. It just seems to hook up really well, find the center of the lane and stay there. So shout out to Volkswagen, you've done a great job with that. I could see myself living with this thing and doing some decent road trips. But that does bring me to, I guess, a downfall of having this electric platform, which is going to be the range. So yes, you do get a max capacity of 79 kilowatt hours. However, I have found over my time driving the Pro and the Cargo, I was seeing consumption in excess of 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So yeah, you are going to be going through that battery quite quickly. You're only going to be getting around 400 kilometers of range, which, you know, in Australia, you can't really drive many places in less than 400 kilometers. So yes, you definitely have to make sure you plan your road trips accordingly. Let's go back to the way this thing drives for a second, because in terms of comfort, I was just in the ID Buzz Pro with the 19-inch alloy wheel options. And I have to say, this with the 18-inch wheels is probably where it's at. They've achieved a really good balance between road feel, feeling connected to the drive, and also being comfortable. And obviously these things need to be driven all day long. Sometimes if you're doing deliveries or you're using this as a business vehicle, you want to make sure that you're not getting tired by steering this vehicle around. And I think that they've done a really good job achieving that balance while still being able to take it out. You know, say for example, you buy this as a recreation vehicle, you can still take it out and have a bit of fun on the twisties. Like, this is honestly unreal. I should not be able to take corners like this and then accelerate out of them, but I guess that's a benefit of the electric platform. And I also have to say that a massive benefit of having that electric platform in a minivan is when you do have all of that weight in the rear, it still just has that instant torque characteristic. Whereas, for example, something like a Ford Transit, while yes, it can have a much larger payload and fit a lot more in the back, you are going to be hearing that engine overworking hard big time because yeah, that engine has to rev very high to get that peak torque band, whereas for electric vehicles, you plant your foot, it just pulls out of the corner. And it's just, yeah, it's honestly really, really impressive. Now, one thing that I'm not the biggest fan of with the ID. Buzz Cargo, and it is a little bit nitpicky, but you know, it is something that you see in a lot of vans, and I kind of expected to see, was behind the seat storage or some kind of under seat storage in the front here. Now, we are in the Cargo and it does have some OEM installed racks, and you can obviously put some aftermarket accessories in the back there, like for example, hooks to hold backpacks and smaller items. However, we don't have that in this car. So all of our bags and smaller items are in the front here with us, which means legroom for me and my passenger is unfortunately compromised. So that is one of the things you have to keep in mind with the Cargo. Let's get into my final thoughts. Alrighty guys, so final thoughts on the Volkswagen ID. Buzz Cargo. Now that I've had a chance to drive it with both a 500 kilo payload as well as completely unladen, and I've been able to test it in a variety of different driving conditions, I have to say I am very impressed with this electric minivan. I think that this is a really good use case for the electric vehicle platform. Just seeing how effortlessly it was able to carry that heavy load and the fact that it still has extra payload to go, even with me sitting inside of it, that's pretty impressive. In fact, it could probably easily fit Matt and myself and one other plus that 500 kilo load. So that's very good for a smaller minivan. No, it's not going to have as much storage space as something like a Ford e-Transit. However, it's kind of a different segment of vehicle. This is a much smaller vehicle than that. Yes, it is definitely expensive. It's not a cheap car at $80,000 before on-roads and all of those optional extras, but I have to say, for that price, you are getting a hell of a lot of car, and it is definitely a car that will bring a smile to a lot of people's faces because, you know, just seeing them driving around, I think we have pretty much half of all of the ID. Buzzes in Australia right now in Newcastle all around me. Yeah, I have to say that these look absolutely amazing on the road. So let me know what you guys think of the Volkswagen ID. Buzz. If you guys are interested in purchasing one of these, it is available now on CarSource Buy, so make sure you Google CarSource Buy, and our massive dealership network will ensure that you get your hands on this stock when it arrives in January next year, very, very soon. And of course, we work on the customer's side, so we will ensure you get the best possible deal on the ID. Buzz. All right, guys, ciao for now.